had nothing as loud and go as bad as it went. And it seemed like the whole house was crumbling up. It just seemed like I could feel it, and I thought it was an earthquake.
What's up, you guys? Chet Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all from my home state of Tennessee. We are out in the very rural parts of Benton, Tennessee. Now, why we are all here today is, you guys, is that something very disastrous happened here in the 1980s. Or to be more exact, a day that will live in infamy, or that has lived in infamy for the past 40 to 43 years in Polk County, Tennessee. You see, May 27th, 1983, an explosion was heard. Some sources say they heard the explosion from as far as 20 miles away. One witness says while he was working at Athens, he felt the ground shake beneath his feet. He could see a big, giant cloud of smoke. This big cloud of smoke, it stood about 6 stories tall. It belched and bellowed smoke into the sky. Polk County's finest firefighters, policemen, they drove down a road known as Welcome Valley Road. As they wove down the winding tracks, or not winding tracks, but winding road, it was only a two-lane road, they came across Webb's Bait Farm. They saw this big cloud of smoke filling the sky. They thought, why is this smoke coming from just a simple bait farm? Well, today, you guys, we are here to talk about the Benton fireworks disaster of 1983. Yes, not far from here, only about 5 minutes down the road, is the property of what once was Webb's Bait Farm. Now, you guys, after I've told you this, let us make a trip down Welcome Valley Road. Let us talk about first responders. The first responders who came to the site. And then let's see the property present day, 2022. So, you guys, without further ado, let's get to it. Anchor down.
I was walking through the jail and I heard a loud explosion. Walked to the back door of the jail and I could see a white puff of smoke coming from this area. I got in my patrol car and proceeded out here to the scene. I was one of the first ones here on the scene, and there had been a major explosion at this location.
This is where the first responders of the Great Benton Fireworks Disaster Accident in 1983 first got the call. It was around 9:15. They got in their vans, their trucks, and they made their way down this road. As you all can see, the fire department is not all that far from Welcome Valley Road. It was right along this 2-lane highway leading just to the other side of Polk County, where this great accident happened. Now, at the time, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that this was a much narrow lane than it is now. So I only gotta imagine how many cars, how many police cars, how many news vans had to make their way down this 2-lane road. I wonder if that caused the traffic jam in its own right. I also kind of wonder how much of this road is all original and what all this road saw during that very fateful day. Now, we're only about 4 minutes away, which I guess for its time and what happened, they were very fortunate. But once we get to the location of the disaster, well, let's just say the tale is very dark, very disturbing. And it's also kind of interesting too about what happened to the property afterwards. You see, the property became an outfitter, if you can believe it. I know we're going to be talking about that here in a minute as well.
How many they made and what their market was, I would say we're talking probably a $250,000 business at least a year.
Alrighty, you guys. It was here at 1278 Welcome Valley Road, where Polk County's finest, their first responders, found a very gruesome sight. It was here at Webb's Bait Farm that they found body parts strewn throughout the property. Here, in a little metal shed, they found 6 barrels of illegal substances used to make explosives. Now, initially, Polk County's, initially, found a puppy. Initially, Polk County's finest thought that they had stumbled upon a bomb manufacturer making illegal explosives for terrorists, gangs, drug dealers. But what they would soon come to find out is that Dan Lee Webb was making illegal fireworks. You see, Dan Lee Webb was manufacturing M80s and M100s, explosives, fireworks that had been outlawed by the federal government for quite some time at that point. Dan Lee Webb was sending these explosives up north to all these other places, and this business of his turned, well, quite profitable. There are some reports that he was making as much as $130 off one case, and that was just one case. But let us get back to the story, shall we? You see, what people later found, or from reports later, were Tommy Webb, who was Dan Lee Webb's cousin, while he was rushed to the hospital to be taken care of from his wounds, he reported to authorities that the explosion had launched him almost the length of a football field. The burns covered about 30% of his body. And if I'm not mistaken, he suffered a few broken bones. Luckily, he did survive that. But with all the news stations, all the first responders, the more they dug in to this story, the more they found out that this was a very serious business. You see, in December of 1983, people around here in Polk County, around the Webb Bait Farm property, they described hearing explosions coming late in the night. Dan Lee Webb, what looked like a normal bait farm, he had built a giant fence on his property. He had put cameras out back to watch people, making sure that no one broke in. On that day, May 27th, 1983, that's when people discovered what was really going on. Now, Dan Lee Webb, he was not here the day this happened, but it was actually his wife who was here on the property. See, Linda Sue Webb, after the explosion happened, she fled the scene. Now, a few days later, she did show up again to turn herself in, That is when they found out when Dan Lee Webb was on his way back. Dan Lee Webb, he turns himself in, and that's when he gets handed a 10-year sentence. You see, if you think about it, each sentence was a little over a year for the death of each family member. You see, 3 of his family members, his brother, his mother, and his father, they unfortunately died in that explosion. Now, Dan Lee Webb, he will serve out the rest of his sentence, his 10-year sentence. And, well, the rest is history. But, you see, Dan Lee Webb, if it had not been for one man, he would have never, ever had the idea to even have the inkling to create an illegal fireworks factory here in the mountains of Benton, Tennessee. You see, Dan Lee Webb met John Bramlett. John Bramlett was the one who gave him the idea to create an illegal fireworks operation. Now, John Bramlett, he too will be handed a sentence. You see, prior to this, he was also arrested for another explosion that took place. That explosion was an explosion that happened in South Carolina that killed 2 people. So this man and his ideas is what caused this great tragedy that has haunted this community for quite some time now. And in a way, it almost feels very haunting to be setting foot on the property of where this tragedy happened. It almost makes me think of whose severed limbs I might be stepping on. You see, this explosion was so horrendous that the 11 who died in the explosion, they could not be recognized. Their body parts were strung along this property. The only way that they could really tell who was who is through a forensic specialist, pretty much. That was the only way that they could tell who was who that died in this explosion. And I was told by someone that the original house is somewhere behind that big building right there. But since Big Frog Expeditions is closed for the season, we're not going to venture out there today. But you guys, this is going to be my vlog for the day. I thought I would share with you all a very dark piece of East Tennessee history. A very dark time in a act of desperation. You see, Dan Lee Webb, the reason why he did what he did is because financially he was not doing well. His bait farm was not doing well. His mortar business that he had on the side was not doing well either. So he had to make some way to ends meet. But it's all very sad and very depressing. But that, you guys, is going to be my vlog for the day. Remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care and you all want to see more. I love you all very much. Vlog over.
Things like this ought to be able to be kept a secret from people in the neighborhood or from surrounding areas either. I don't think it's fair. It's sure not fair to the people that's dead.